The benefit to fractional with our team, we have a small team, but within our team, you're paying a fraction of one person's salary in this case, but you're getting someone that is an expert in ads. You're going to get someone that is an expert in graphic design. You're going to get somebody that all they do all day is SEO and understand the ins and outs and the latest algorithms. So you get all those specialty things, but in the price of less than one employee. But we also bring our own software and everything. So the companies, they're saving, not paying the benefits and everything by outsourcing, but they're also not having to buy all the extra software by going fractional.
Welcome, MedTech Gurus. Today we're joined by Lauren Schafer, founder of Lakehouse Digital Media, a boutique marketing agency that helps life sciences and technology companies translate visibility into credibility and real growth. Lauren works with founders and leadership teams to determine what's working, what's not, and what to do next when it comes to marketing strategy. Her approach blends practical SEO strategy, LinkedIn authority building, and thought leadership programs that help companies become trusted voices in their category. She has developed a reputation for helping organizations communicate their expertise in ways that resonates with investors, healthcare providers, and industry partners. Her work includes supporting leadership visibility initiatives for organizations like LabCorp, where she helped teams strengthen engagement and credibility through optimized LinkedIn strategies and training. Lauren's philosophy is simple but powerful. Credibility comes from being genuinely helpful and consistently showing up where your audience is learning and evaluating solutions. For startups, that can mean transforming one strong conversation into weeks of valuable content or creating digital strategies that extend the impact of conferences and industry events. For many early-stage companies, her approach provides something incredibly valuable: a full marketing capability without the cost and complexity of building a large internal team. Lauren brings practical insights into SEO, digital visibility, and credibility building strategies that are especially relevant for MedTech founders trying to break through the noise. Hey, Lauren, are you ready to be our guru today?
I am. Thanks for having me, Tom.
Oh, we're excited to have you. So tell us something fun or interesting about yourself or your family so we can get to know you a little better.
All right. Well, I am, my husband and I live in my hometown, which is Cary, North Carolina. We are in that Raleigh-Durham Research Triangle area park. And let's see, we're recent empty nesters. Our youngest just went to college. So we are both in the life science marketing arena here. And right now it's down to just the two of us and the dog. So that is kind of us in a nutshell.
Congratulations for getting your child off to college. That's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, that's we have two, and they are both thriving in college, and we're finding our new norm.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So, Lauren, you work closely with founders and leadership teams across life sciences and technology. So help us out. What originally drew you into the space and inspired you to start Lakehouse Digital Media?
Yeah, that's a great question. My husband and I, we met at work originally years ago. We were more on the technology end, and we were working for a large corporation. And then we both quit our jobs right after we got married and moved to the Silicon Valley area and started working with a startup company there. And we both were wearing all the hats, and we got to really be in the weeds with what it was like to be a startup. And then we ended up coming back to the Raleigh-Durham area. And a few years after we'd been back here, my husband left to start his own life sciences market research firm. And our kids were little. I was, doing more marketing, business development work. But at night, I was helping him with the life science market research. And we were coding and hand doing things, back all those years ago. But I started seeing how the market research translated into real patient outcomes. One of the projects we worked on was a diagnosis a family member had just gotten. And it really helped me to show how the industry was regarding a diagnosis and then how much they actually cared about patient outcomes. And so anyways, fast forward, he was doing this company for a while. And when I started Lakehouse, we really wanted to be able to help companies that were smaller because we'd been corporate life. We'd also done things like we'd been in startup mode. But I love the life science aspect and really helping the ones that were getting started, whether they were brand new starters, just in the startup mode, or whether they were already a medium-sized company but just weren't getting traction anymore. I loved helping those that really cared about the patient outcome. So we do different industries, but I have a heart for life sciences because of that.
Oh, I love that. I've been in the industry for 40 something years. And, there's something, special about the industry, knowing that what you're doing is going to help a clinician and the patient they serve, as they go down the road. So that's really invigorating, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Yeah.
And you can see how much these founders truly, truly just want to make people's lives better. And it's a great thing to get to work on.
Yeah, for sure. And you touched on something that kind of leads into my next question with, many med tech companies really have some strong technologies out there, but struggle to gain visibility with either investors or healthcare providers. In your experience, where does that disconnect usually happen?
So we see this a lot, and it's great because we have a solution. But it's a very common problem, regardless of if you're in technology or life science. Is many times the founders are brilliant scientists. They've been the researchers. They know the science backwards and forwards. They have an amazing vision and a way to move it forward. But the disconnect seems to be kind of that middle ground where they may not have the business experience, and to be able, when you're trying to get more people to fund it, when you're trying to get more people to hire, to make sure you've got the right workforce and at the right time hire the right people, you have to be a good storyteller.
Mhm.
And that storytelling aspect doesn't always come natural to a scientist and to a researcher. But there's the people that are doing the funding and that want to put more into it. They want to see more than just a concept, right? They want to be able to see the clarity. They want to see the vision. They want to see the value. And they want to make sure that you have a team that can get the product over that finish line. And I think for us, that's the disconnect when a lot of these founders or small startups is they are wonderful at what they do, but it all comes back to storytelling and showing the value to whoever that end user is going to be.
Yeah, I love that storytelling aspect, right? Because, I've worked with a lot of founders myself, and sometimes they want to just tell you right to the nth detail about their science and their discovery and what they're doing. But if I'm following you right, the storytelling is kind of painting that picture in such a way that we can get it quickly and easily. Am I heading down the right path with that?
Yeah, it's absolutely for the end patient, the end user, whoever's going to be that buyer. If they can't see the value and how it's going to make their lives or their patients' lives better, it can be the most brilliant scientific concept in the world. But if you can't really fast tell a story that's going to say it's going to make your life better, it's going to make that patient's life better, and show that value immediately, you're going to lose people really fast. So I think that's where we see the disconnect quite a bit.
Yeah, that's really helpful. And I noted that, you've worked with some really large organizations, helping their leadership teams strengthen their presence on LinkedIn, which I find really fascinating. What lessons did that experience teach you and your team about building credibility online? Do you have any insights for us?
So I think the biggest thing we've seen for years with LinkedIn, because people tend to be extremes. They either kind of live on LinkedIn and they're on there and they're the people that are commenting all the time, or they're barely there and they're absent. But what we've really tried to get across to leadership teams is decisions and thought leadership. Those influences are happening online, whether it's LinkedIn, especially in the business community. Those conversations are going to happen whether you're there or not. And so you have to be in the room if you want to be a part of the conversation. And so a lot of what we've done when we go into senior leadership teams is we are sharing with them, the amount of thought leadership that's on there and how much the decisions and the content that is now on LinkedIn is really driving business decisions and thought leadership. And a lot of business makers, they're going on there. The leaders are going on there looking for connection. They're going on to look for thought leadership. And if you're not participating, you're going to get left out. And so I think a lot of it is understanding that One, you've got to be present, whether it's you as an individual or you as your company showing some thought leadership. It's going to be showing that you're at that next conference and why you're there and who you want to talk to, and letting people know that you want their business and the value you're going to give. But it's also being reciprocal. LinkedIn, at the end of the day, it is still a social media platform. And that means it's a two-way road. It's not just putting stuff out there and hoping that people reciprocate, but it is going, and if other people that you want to have conversations with, if they're out there posting, that you are also reading theirs and commenting back and making sure it is a reciprocal two-way street.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I'm just kind of curious, do you find that when somebody does reciprocate, does that kind of strengthen your presence as well? Does LinkedIn look at that?
They absolutely do. And there's different things that feed the LinkedIn algorithm. And the biggest thing that will contribute how far your reach goes, how many other people see your comment or your post, it all comes down to commenting. So, for example, I'll give you an example. Let's say that I make a post personally, and Tom, you go on and like my post.
Mm-hmm.
So, one like on that post. So now one person that is in your network that I'm not necessarily connected to, one extra person is going to see that post. Where the flip side of that, if you make a comment on my post instead of just liking it, it's roughly 15 or 16 more people. The algorithm changes regularly, but if 16 more people will see that are in your network that don't know me will now see that. And so it really is, the comments is a multiplier for LinkedIn. It helps to do the likes, it helps to reshare, but LinkedIn, their algorithm, it still rewards relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more that you comment and it's conversational and a natural conversation back about, we are going to be at that. We'd love to grab coffee. And then the back, you reply back to that. Yep, we would love to see you there. Or this is a great article. I haven't thought about that perspective before. LinkedIn rewards through their algorithm and your posts having more reach online, whether it's you or your brand, it rewards conversations.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. So if I comment on one of your posts, then it actually strengthens my visibility as well. Do I have that
That's
right?
right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very helpful. And one of the other things I've always found confusing online that I think you can help us with is, this whole discussion around SEO, right? I mean, I've
Yes.
come through a sales career. I'm not really that much in, from a marketing standpoint, but it seems like there's always been a lot of noise around search strategy. So maybe you could help us out with what's actually working today for life sciences and med tech companies that are really trying to improve their visibility or discoverability, if that's a word.
Yeah. So I will say SEO has changed more in the last year than it has in the past 10 to 15 years. It has had substantial changes, and that's due to AI. All the different LLMs, what they are pulling from and what they are prioritizing has really changed the face of SEO. Now, all the new studies that are out is showing if you had a good base to start with, that you followed the good traditional organic Google search things, if you have some good SEO as a base, you're setting yourself up for more optimal AI results to be able to see that visibility and everything. But you have to do more now. You have to have the basics in there, but you also have to do more that is going to pick you up on AI, any of the LLMs. And there's all the varieties. They pull from different things. But how life science companies specifically can get found is a couple of things. LinkedIn, like even earlier, like 2 months ago, I would have said Reddit is one of the most cited things on AI, which most life science companies, Reddit is not a good channel for them at all. And a lot of industries, it's not the best one, particularly life science. But in 2 months' time, LinkedIn is about to overtake AI for AI citations. Excuse me, overtake Reddit for AI citations. So AI is the longer form content that you're putting in either your post on LinkedIn or on your comments back to really explain your thought leadership or patient outcomes or different things. That's one way to get seen more. It's indexing things like Instagram, but LinkedIn for life sciences is really, really critical. Some of the other things that is really increasing visibility at a faster rate than anything else is this. It's being on podcast. They love to cite to have the conversational question and answers. People right now, where a couple years ago, they might type in CDMO California, right? And looking for who is the best. The way that people now search is, instead of just CDMO California, they will actually search what is the best CDMO in California near me. And so they're getting longer questions, and Google and all of the LLMs have gotten a lot smarter to get more exact answers as things have gotten more intelligent. So the longer form Q&As, especially like this on podcast, they get indexed by AI. You can take videos that, like a video of this, put it on YouTube, and YouTube frequently gets cited, especially by things like Gemini. Gemini is owned by Google. Gemini, or Google, also owns YouTube. So it is prioritizing a lot of video content. It's prioritizing a lot of the longer form posts and just anything that's a general question and answer type of format, because then it's going to match exactly what people are typing into search now.
Yeah, that's really helpful. And I'm just kind of curious, if I'm sitting back and trying to promote my MedTech company, is it best to do like one big post once a month, or should I do like more snippets, or is it some kind of a combination of both?
It's definitely a combination of on both. For LinkedIn specifically, we recommend for a brand, not necessarily a person, but a brand, you really need to post twice a week at a minimum. On LinkedIn, you also don't need to post 7 days a week. That's too much. It's a kind of overkill. But at least to stay top of mind and to continue that being indexed. But doing something like this, you can tell people, we're going to be on it. You can talk a little bit about it. You can take some of that later and share that post. But I think staying top of mind, it's better to do if you have the time to do, even if it's 2 short posts a week versus just 1 larger post per month.
Yeah, that's helpful. So, and you mentioned a lot of things have changed, especially even in the last couple months. Are there tactics or things that companies and marketing departments are doing that they should now stop or reformat with when it comes to SEO?
I will say the biggest thing that our biggest problem child when we get a client is, and that they should stop, whether you're doing it yourself or whether you work with an agency, is I'm a big fan of some of the more standardized website platforms, especially when it comes to search. So the things that are keeping up with the latest algorithms, the latest plugins, everything that is optimizing your site for search is going to be the big ones. It's not going to be the homegrown sites that people used to make, and it was fantastic. And it was almost a bragging point for a lot of our software friends, our developer friends. But they really, these standardized sites, whether it's WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, those are my 3 go-to sites that I think are performing the best, regardless of industry, and search right now. So that is the old tactic, is maybe doing your homemade site and kind of bragging rights if you're a developer. But there's a reason that these 3 platforms do so well, and they know how to make sure the indexing is set up correctly for both the traditional Google search and for these new large language models.
Yeah, that's really helpful. And before we leave LinkedIn, right, there's one other aspect of it. We're touching on how it's become such a powerful platform for industry leadership. So when you look at a founder's profile, are there often 2 or 3 things that you see that you ought to fix or could change right away that would help that founder?
Yes, that is one of my favorite questions. I think one thing, if you think about, if you were going to sell a house, right? You think about curb appeal with a house. You think about what's going to be your first impression when you drive up to that house, or the real estate agent puts on the website or the brochure. LinkedIn is just like that. There is a large space. It's my biggest pet peeve. At the top, you have your circular profile picture, but then there's your banner that is behind you. And more times than I care to count, people leave that blank. And that is empty real estate space to talk about what you do, or just who you work for and how you help people, how you help patient outcomes. But that's the biggest thing. If a founder comes to us, that we're like, that is real estate that is free. It's not ad space, but that is one thing to maximize, even if it's just your brand visibility behind you, or if it is adding some things to it, saying exactly what you do. But that is our biggest one. And the other one is just making sure, if you haven't changed your profile picture in 10 years, 15 years, maybe you were heavier, maybe you were skinny, maybe you had different haircut then. But if you have an older profile picture and then you've connected with someone on LinkedIn and you go to meet them at a conference or you go to meet them for coffee or at their office and you look like a different person, it instantly affects your credibility. So we always say, take advantage of the full real estate at the top. And then also make sure there's great services now where you can get headshots done that actually are very realistic. If not, go into your favorite photographer, but make sure your headshot is up to date and looks like you.
Yeah, that's very helpful. And now I'm going to go double check my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
Right. So, Lauren, there was when I was doing my research, something that really fascinated me. You talk about turning one interview into 30 days of content. So, walk us through that a little bit in terms of if I'm a founder and I'm on a podcast or I'm on get a news media hit of some sort. Walk us through that strategy and how they can do that in practice.
Yeah, I love this angle, and we talk about it quite a bit as far as the value of being on a podcast, of having some video. So first, if it was something like this, you can have that first touch point on LinkedIn to say, "Hey, I'm so excited that I'm going to be talking to you later on." And if someone introduced you, it's a great chance to also tag the person, say, "Hey, thanks for introducing me to Tom, and I'm so excited to talk with you." And you do it on LinkedIn first as that touch point. It's giving them a little bit more visibility. It's giving their brand a little bit more visibility, and it's giving a public thank you to the person that connected you. So that's a first touch point before you even have the podcast. After that, you can take the video content and do so much with it. You can make it an SEO. You can make an SEO optimized post. That is just the transcript. It's great to get indexed by all the search engines. From that, we can share that as a post. We can make it a video post on YouTube so we can share it that way. But within the actual video or the transcript itself, we can pull some of the best quotes and make it a single quote post. We can make some of the main points that we want to talk about and we make it another carousel post. We can then take parts of the video that we thought were the best highlights and maybe even of a 30-minute podcast, you could easily get 3 to 5 short reels out of that. And so those are great. People love to see video. They love to actually see human, natural interaction that is not AI generated right now. So you can do all of those things. But what you can also do outside of those, and I won't walk you through each of the 30 ones, but you can take part of that podcast then and say, put it on your website, like as seen here. Like we'd love to have more conversations. And that becomes part of what you do on your website. Like we love to be in conversations with other people in the life science industry. Mm-hmm. It becomes a slide. Like when we were able to talk with so-and-so, here's what we were able to really talk about founders and the disconnect, maybe if they're not getting traction. We go back to your original question, and then that becomes a slide when the next time we go to pitch to a founder saying, you've got to be a good storyteller. But all of those different things, even part of it can become an ad for you. But a lot of the different things are going to be different things that we do as a story on Instagram. It's going to be several reels that are video clips. It's going to be a long form and a short form video that is on YouTube optimized. And then just writing a thank you afterwards once it comes out. And if the show posts it, then we're going to repost, again, thank the host. And you're going to thank those people if there was anybody else that was on there too. But it becomes a way to take that one and to really, really repurpose it to give people the best of, if they don't have time, 30 minutes to watch, we're going to give them the best of the highlights and we're going to spread them out over a few weeks.
Yeah, that's fantastic, right? I really like how you take those snippets and then get some extra mileage out of that because, as you said, you can get 30 days or longer out of that to, make those algorithms work for you on LinkedIn and other social media, correct?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, and then it helps whoever you're talking to too, because it's bringing visibility to them, and you're being able to maximize your audience and the other audience, and so you get to really be collaborative with it.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And Lauren, many startups struggle with whether to hire an internal marketing talent or outsource their expertise. So, how does the fractional marketing model help companies scale more intelligently? Do you have any insights for us there?
I do. I
Yeah.
do. This is also another one of my favorite topics, because we work fractionally, and with some clients where we're their full marketing team that they just outsource to us, and we still sit in all their staff meetings and everything. Sometimes they just need a little bit. They need someone specialized in SEO, but the fractional model, especially for companies that are in that new startup mode, they're in that foundational mode. They're their boards might allow them enough salary for one person to get added on to a marketing department. And if that case, if it's a full-time employee, they've got to wear all the hats. They are going to be pulled in a lot of direction. Everything from, if we're going to be trying to be at a trade show, or if we're going to be making a slide deck, if we're going to do ads, if we're going to do SEO, all those different things. And then they have to pay for their own tools and their own dashboards to be able to report back what's working, their own SEO software, their own graphics software. So the benefit to fractional, with our team, we have a small team, but within our team, you're paying a fraction of one person's salary in this case, but you're getting someone that is an expert in ads. You're going to get someone that is an expert in graphic design. You're going to get somebody that all they do all day is SEO and understand the ins and outs and the latest algorithms. So you get all those specialty things, but in the price of less than one employee. But we also bring our own software and everything. So the companies, they're saving, not paying the benefits and everything by outsourcing, but they're also not having to buy all the extra software by going fractional.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? To make that initial investment dollar go farther, right when they're in the fundraising mode. And then I would think, by the time you hire that employee and then you think about the benefits and taxes and all that other stuff, it really can be very efficient, right?
Yeah. And one thing to add to that is, one of the biggest things, especially for our life science companies that are in that startup mode, they're going through the early phases. They have to do a lot of reports to keep their board informed, just to be a responsible partner. And they have obligations to keep them informed of, if you spent this on marketing, is it working? And so we do dashboards for all of our clients, but those dashboards are boardroom ready. And so for them, they get a link. And if they get all of a sudden pulled into a board meeting and, well, which channels are actually working, everything is boardroom ready right there for them. And it's just part of what we are able to do as a fractional team. That again, it's that extra software thing early on. It's an extra software cost that a lot of founders, they would rather spend the money on some other investments. So
Yeah, yeah, it makes total sense. And one other thing I wanted to touch base with you on too, while we had the time here today, and that's healthcare conferences, right?
mhm.
Very expensive, right? They're important, very expensive to go to, right? You're flying people in, you're setting up maybe a trade show booth or other sorts of marketing collateral. What strategies have you seen that really work the best for companies trying to extend the impact of conferences just beyond that trade show booth? Do you have any thoughts for us there?
Yes, we do. We work with a lot of companies. Sometimes all we do is support them during events like this. So, the number one thing, whether you're going to be at a conference or if you didn't have the budget to go to every conference you wanted this year, is first and foremost, we do geofencing ads. When we have a target audience of decision makers that are in one room all at the same time, if it's 2 or 3 days, if it's an afternoon, we do strategic geofencing ads to show them ads the night before if they're at a hotel, whatever the event hotel is, to say, hey, we're going to be on this panel tomorrow, or we're going to be at this booth. Or if it's a case where you're not at the conference, you're still keeping your brand in front of them. So they're done through mobile ads. We geofence them during the conference to drive traffic, to get you conversations if you've got a booth, to fill the room if you're going to be on a panel. But the biggest thing with this is we retarget them for several weeks after. And by doing that, it's going to be able to follow them home. It sounds a bit creepy, but I promise it's done with like all the top privacy accreditations. But you get bombarded when you go to these conferences. They're very big. It can be great to see old friends and everything, but when you're really trying to find some new vendors or get some new ideas and find new finance options, all the different things, you get so much noise while you're there. So by being able to push some traffic to you while they're there, but to retarget them so that they remember your brand once they get home and things settle back down is so important. So geofencing, whether you can be there or not, is our first priority. Our second one is, especially if you're going to be there, whether you're a speaker, whether you're going to have a booth, or whether you're just going to be in the room attending, we want people to really fully do before, during, and after on LinkedIn. You have to be the face-to-face meetings, regardless of everything else now, nothing beats face-to-face. But we want to make sure if you're going to go to the expense to fly people and have people there, they should be reaching out and setting up those meetings through LinkedIn, through email, but especially LinkedIn if they don't have the relationship established before, so that it's very efficient. They've got good meetings while they're there. And telling people, hey, we're going to be attending, whether it's DIA or whether it's bio, we're going to be telling people we're going to be there and we'd love to meet with you. So setting up meetings ahead via LinkedIn, posting from there and it's just, again, telling people, hey, we're here at booth 6701 today. Come see us. And we're also going to be at XYZ later tonight, telling people how to find you while you're at a conference. And then it's that follow-up to thank the people that hosted you, to tell people it was great to see you. But that follow-up and following up with the people that you met while you were there, to make sure that you connect with them on LinkedIn, that you followed up to say, thank you for meeting me for coffee, but to continue and build the relationship. So those two strategies, I think, is what really can make you stand out when there's so much noise at these conferences.
Yeah, yeah, I love that approach. And one piece of this I wanted to ask you about too, and that's how about the messaging within the booth time itself when you've got those potential customers? Do you help them with some of those best practices as well?
We do. We do a couple things to make sure that they are ready, both with messaging. And again, you can't be long-winded. People are busy. They're very distracted. And so we want clear messaging. If there is a clear, fast story to tell that speaks exactly to their pain point, you have to be very articulate in a short amount of time. And then other things we like to do is, we know that people are busy and they might be trying to hit a lot of booths all at once. So if we can get them to stop and talk to us, how can we get their information the best? And so we do, dynamic QR codes if they want to, a lot of the conferences, they'll scan your badges where you can exchange information. But a lot of times if we're going to say, hey, we've got a new white paper, if you just scan this QR code real quick and enter your email, we'll email it to you. So, it's trying to get your messaging, your value proposition there and be able to have some way to communicate again with them. So we definitely work on messaging to get that value proposition, the storytelling down. But we also, if there's a way that we can politely get their information, if they want to give it to us, we're going to add some value immediately by a white paper, a case study, and something like that to give them some value if they're going to give us their email address.
Yeah, yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. So, Lauren, let me ask you a MedTech guru's kind of question here, right? So,
Okay.
if a MedTech founder came to you tomorrow and said, hey, Lauren, we've built a great product, but nobody knows who we are. So, what would be the first two or three things you would do or tell them to do to help their situation?
Well, you may or may not like this answer, but I would probably flip it first to make sure that I answer it best. Is I would probably have to ask them some questions first. So it would be like, what type of organizations are you trying to sell to, and how's it going to benefit them? Why do they buy this? Why do they need this? Do you really understand their true pain point and how it's going to help that customer? And even, I think, especially before we set a strategy, we would need to know, what's the decision-making unit look like with this? If it is, let's say if it was the procurement officer of a hospital is trying to buy the new, whatever the MedTech device is, if it's the procurement officer, that's great, but who's influencing them? And in this case, if it was, let's see if it was an IV new drip device. Mm-hmm. And the procurement officer might have the final say and sign off, but who's influencing them to say there's something new we need to look at? And a lot of times that might be the head of nursing. It might be a nursing group that is the ones that are using it, that are having a problem right now or wish something was just a little bit better. And so I would ask them exactly who is influencing the decisions there. And then I think we would be able to really tell them 2 or 3 things that could help and give them a really good design back for a strategy.
You know what I like about that is your questions help immerse you into their business, right? So you're learning what's going on within their business before you start making recommendations. Is that the right path? Is it where you're headed here?
Absolutely, because no one wants just a cookie cutter strategy that somebody, another agency is just going to throw at you. They want a true partner when they come to us, and they want to know somebody that's going to understand this is where we can't get traction and this is what we're trying to do, but we just can't get it. But you've got to be able to walk in their shoes and walk right beside them to be able to understand what the problem really is. And sometimes they have an amazing product and people aren't asking the right questions, or they don't know how to communicate back exactly what they're doing. And I think you really have to understand and be in the weeds with your client to truly be able to help them.
Yeah, for sure. So, Lauren, this seems like really an exciting time for you and your team at Lakehouse Digital Media. What does the future hold with digital media, and where are you going from here?
So I think the biggest thing, it is definitely an exciting time with every new change in AI. I feel like there are new changes, new algorithms, new platforms coming out daily. I love it. We are very, very pro education here. We have a time, and it's just SEO 101 where we teach every Friday, and it's just to our internal team, but we're staying on top of all the trends. We have someone on our team and all they do is research the latest algorithms, everything else. But we love being able to take that back to our life science customers and say, if we need you to be recognized on AI, if we need your thought leadership on LinkedIn to be stronger, to be able to know the latest platforms, to know what is being cited by ChatGPT versus Gemini versus Claude, or whatever the flavor of the day is. But those platforms right now, the rise of video continues to just be ranked high, and all of those, video has been on the rise for years now with Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. But being able to now say, why is video so important to life science and in this industry, and understanding the ramifications of AI citations, it's an exciting time to be doing this kind of stuff. We love it.
Yeah, I can tell. I can feel the passion, that's for sure. So, yeah. Lauren, first of all, thank you. I want to thank you for and acknowledge you for being our guru today and all the insights that you brought to us. If somebody wants to learn more about you and your team, how do we do that? Is there a website, I'm sure, or LinkedIn, I'm sure, right?
Yes, there absolutely is both. Our website is thelakehouseddigital.com. So THE at the beginning. But also you can find me on LinkedIn. We're very active, either Lakehouse Digital or just me personally. I'm Lauren Miller Schafer on LinkedIn. And we love getting messages through LinkedIn. We are very quick to respond on our website too. But we welcome conversations and just love keeping up with how other people are doing things in this industry.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, Lauren, once again, thank you so much for being our guru today. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I have loved listening to your other podcasts, and it's just been great to be in an opportunity like this with you, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to MedTech Gurus. I am Sylvester Harris, your MC. If you want to learn more about Tom and his consulting services, you can go to www.pctmedical.com or email Tom at tom@pctmedical.com. Now, I can be reached at Sylvester Harris, that's SylvesterHarris 5048@gmail.com. And I'd be pleased to discuss any voiceover work that you may want for your company or broadcast. Hey, thanks so much for listening, and catch us on the next episode of MedTech Gurus.